allegations in the House. I want to give you a chance to respond to them. The first thing he suggested is that members of your caucus knew about this incident with Mr. McKay that's come to light. What can you tell us about that?
I don't know if any member of our caucus knew anything about that.
And the other allegation, of course, is that surely this incident would have been brought to the attention of your chief of staff. Can you tell us whether or not Ms. Graham was aware of these allegations?
In May, when we were in Europe, we were doing a trade mission in Europe, when she would have received a call that said to her this allegation that had been investigated and there was no substance to it. And that was the end of it.
In light of what you have said in the last couple of days about when someone gets something like this, it ought to go to the police. In spite of the fact that there was the local investigation, when it got to the caucus office, when it got to the chief of staff, should they have gone to the police with these allegations?
Well, there's no evidence. What was communicated. If you have evidence, take it to the police. That's the issue associated with this. You can. It's no different than me putting in writing a bunch of allegations about you with no evidence to take it to somebody. You're in this position when you go and you look at it and you ask the people, what's the substance of this? And at that time, there was no indication of alcohol issues. That would have been the process, and then communicated to those people who were the authors. If you have something, you need to take it to them. They're the only people that can actually communicate to the law enforcement agencies about the substance.
So, Premier, you said in the House yesterday that if somebody has this letter, they should take it to police. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying today. You're saying that it was enough to go to Mr. McKay and ask him if it was true?
Well, what would have been happened would have been about. Of course, we would have asked that. That would have been asked. But there's no evidence to determine what's in that letter, whether it is true or not. And I think the writing president described that today, and that is the reality. It's then becomes, unless the author of the letter is actually going to go and make the case, provide the evidence that they have. There's nothing else for anyone else.
Is that in October in Europe? Was it the writing president who made the phone call to you?
I'm not sure who actually. It didn't make it to me.
No, but to you, Kier.
I'm not sure. It might have actually been. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might have been our outreach worker that was there, but I'm not sure. But I can try to get you that. Okay.
Sorry, the letter that Mr. Houston has been quoting from, the author of that letter suggests that he has text messages and video and that sort of stuff. Was that offer to have that stuff made available to anybody that you're aware of within the party? And did anybody within the party, if they were aware of the existence of that stuff, reach out to the author of the letter to try to get access to it?
I don't know directly. I know the writing president would have been communicated. If you have evidence of a crime, you take it to the police. Don't bring it to the political party. Take it to the police.
In October of last year, Mr. McKay was charged and a month later convicted of a drunk driving offense. Given that
pled guilty,
yeah. Given that came up later, wouldn't it have been appropriate at that point to revisit this communication? Well,
there was no evidence around the substance. I didn't know about that communication, but there was no evidence as to that. If you would have had that and sitting on that information for long periods of time, you would have thought if there was a substance that they would have taken it then. That's the issue here.
Do you think that this stuff should have been brought to your attention? You've been categorical about your views on this issue, not just because of Mr. McKay, but because of Ms. Miller's background and other issues. Would you have liked for this to have been brought to your attention right off the bat?
Listen, all kinds of stuff arrives to my office. The job of the chief of staff is actually to determine which actually gets to me and which actually have substance and which ones I have to deal with. As you know, and the ones that don't get to me because we're dealing with the realities. And clear, there's this. This is before the courts now, and the courts will determine it.
So I'm still not clear about the call to Europe. What were you told by your chief of staff at the time about the nature of the call?
I wasn't told anything.
Okay, so you weren't told.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I just want to make sure we understand how you found out about the chief of staff. That this is something that you learned about yesterday.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that the author of this letter made these things up? I mean, it's very detailed.
I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm not suggesting that at all. But I'm not about to impugn the reputation of anyone based on hearsay or based on what someone else says. what I say to you, there's a process for them to go through, just like there's for you and me.
But shouldn't it be your job to get to the bottom of this, to actually find out if there is evidence, the evidence that suggests
Well, I found out yesterday what it was. I made the inquiry, and if there is evidence, you take it to the police. You don't take it to me. I don't have the authority to make that thing. You take it to the police if you have seen crime. I didn't witness anything.
The letter says that the author was suggested that she should go to the police at the time, and she was told that wasn't a good idea. Do you think it was a mistake that the police weren't involved immediately?
I don't know. If someone has evidence, they should always go there.
Would you like to revisit how incidents of this nature are brought to your attention, perhaps? Because it seemed I'm not saying it's an oversight, but it does seem like it didn't come as quickly as it should have.
I'm sure there'll be lots of conversations.
Okay, a couple more guys.
You decided in the fall that it was appropriate for Mr. McKay to continue sitting in the Liberal caucus. You said at the time that it was important to you that he had been accountable for his actions. If you had known about this communication and you had known about these allegations, would that have changed your decision?
I would have. I certainly would have asked more questions around the allegation, but Mr. McKay's in treatment, looking to deal with this addiction. This is one that is crippling for many Nova Scotians, and when someone owned up to what happened, which he did, pled guilty in the fall, and now is in treatment, and it is my hope that he will continue to get well. And the courts will deal whether or not these allegations have substance.
Premier, when you say he's in treatment, are you just saying that it's a continuation of what he had told us previously he was going to do? He's not subsequently gone away as a result of this?
No, he's been, all of the treatment's been here, been in AA and all of those.
Okay.
Have you spoken to him personally?
No, I haven't.
You have not. Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.